Oh, yes. I have seen a movie that I'm going to review. I was excited, and not only did it deliver, it actually exceeded my expectations. So we got The Harder They Fall with Idris Elba playing Rufus Buck, Jonathan Majors playing Nat Love, Regina King playing Treacherous Trudy Smith, Lakeith Stanfield playing Cherokee Bill, Stagecoach Mary played by Zazie Beetz, Edie Gathiti played Bill Pickett, Delroy Lindo played Bass Reeves, Tate Fletcher, the biggest man on, and R.J. Seiler played Jim Beckworth, Dion Cole, Willie Esco, which I didn't even know he was in this movie, and just so many others. Andrea B. Langs played Bank Teller. It's just, yeah. So, this movie, I'm going to try to keep this spoiler light. Sorry if you hear that. That's my tablet in the background because it just did an update. So, this was a multi-layered black Western. And let me tell you, first off, this was a Western. If you like a good action style Western, this had it. It opens, and I got there just in time, right? It opens with something interesting where you don't see a face and you see this thing happen, right? And I'm not going to say what the thing is, but the movie doesn't open the way I thought it did, but it was a beautiful shot, right? And then something happens, and from there you see the experience with Nat Love and everything, right? So you get introduced to certain characters. You see the Red Hood gang, historical, and then you see a little bit about what some of these characters are introduced. You actually aren't fully introduced to some of the main characters right away, which you see for, which I liked. And there's a storyline going on there. Then there's a particular storyline happening with Nat Love, besides outside of his friends. And that converges. And it's like, dude, not only did this movie, like, the fact that they were converging, or I should say the bullets, was converging multiple storylines, handling it perfectly. And it's awesome because even for the Rufus Buck gang, you actually see there is heart there, but it's like if you're dealing with the devil still was God's favorite son at one time, kind of thing. And I like how they played that. Lakeith Stanfield, because now I'm just going to talk about performances right now, because I'm trying not to spoil this. And Lakeith Stanfield as Cherokee Bill was great. He had this softness to him, and he was known being fast and stuff. But then when you find out what he does and how he, because you've seen it in the trailer where he's like, I'm not really violent or anything, but it's kind of like he starts off one way, but you see it another way, but there's still a weirdness about him that you're like, huh. And there was like a charm to him, but you're like, he almost doesn't fit the gang until you see why he fits the gang. And Treacherous Trudy Smith. First off, I swear, Regina King, it's funny. I think she's in her 50s. That woman looks like she's in like her 30s. Like, I look at her, I'm like, I can't tell how old you are. Like, just, And she played it so beautifully. And you have freaking Jonathan Majors, who is really showing me that this guy he's just an actor. Like, he's so intriguing, and yet I've seen him play things and it feels like a completely different person. And he has like this charm and this confidence, and it's funny because he's so cool, but it's almost to the point of like, dude, you're just like, what he reminds me of? Old school Harrison Ford. Like, Indiana Jones, not in the sense that the things. I'm talking about the character of Indiana Jones. You know how he has a confidence, but he does seem scared or whatever when he's dealing with a situation. But there's this weird just bravery about him too. That's what he had like on him. It just reminded me of like Harrison Ford in all the right ways. Idris Elba playing Rufus Buck. It, it it's one. It's probably one of his best villains. And the cool part about Rufus was quiet. And that's what made him so uncomfortable. When he spoke, it meant something. And I love that. It was like he was a thinking villain. But he wasn't like what's the name that I love off of Hobbs and Shaw, because that was just great, Black Superman. He was something different. And there was like a menace behind his eyes. But then there was also a care. It was like, dude, this dude's killing it, as Idris always does. But this particular situation, it was like, yo, this villain is cold, but there's like something there. And there was like a darkness behind his eyes that he did. Beats playing Stagecoach Mary. Now, she definitely, if I remember correctly, I think she was playing a younger version of Stagecoach Mary, because Stagecoach Mary, which, remember, these are all real historical characters, but they're played a little different. So the reason why Cherokee Bill is called Cherokee Bill is because a lot of the Rufus Buck gang was actually half Native American. And yeah, he looks a little different. Like Cherokee Bill looks a little different from his counterpart, but he played them the same. You see what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, Zazie, I think, played a younger version, but she did have some of the historical things. So if you ever look up a picture of Stagecoach Mary, right? She has her long barrel shotgun with a big butt. And they actually had it in the movie. And I was like, yes! Because I was looking for that. I was like, let's see if they keep the particulars on these characters. Stagecoach Bill, I said Stagecoach Bill. Cherokee Bill. Now, Cherokees are known for their knife work. He actually does a little bit of knife work. I was like, oh my goodness. So I'm in the theater just losing it, right? Because these characters are being depicted pretty freaking well. And when you have Cuffy, and Cuffy was good. Now, I like the fact that people wanted to cross Cuffy, but the thing is Cuffy knew how to get you. And I liked it. Cuffy's she's a female or whatever. But Cuffy wasn't just like, oh, I'm going to do this. No, Cuffy, when she would put the paws on you, she could get you. And it was like she knew where to hit you and stuff. And Cuffy was nobody to play with, and I liked that. And Cuffy had a very tomboyish sense of nature. But at the same time, Cuffy was dangerous. And Cuffy felt like a threat. And that's what I liked. It wasn't like, oh, we're going to put the men down to be a threat. No, they were a threat because they were EVPs, extremely violent people. And they didn't play. And I liked that. R.J. Seiler, who the first time I remember ever experiencing him is the Blue Ranger. For Power Rangers. This kid got something, man. He played that part. He was funny. He was engaging. He was cool. It was like, he just had it, right? Deon Cole, who I actually didn't realize was in this movie, I liked his part he played. He played something very different. And it was cool. And it was funny. But it was also crazy. And it had its own flavor to it. So I thought that was just good stuff, right? And now we're going to talk about Bill Pickett. What I liked about Bill Pickett was Bill Pickett, great sharpshooter, but Bill Pickett also was a great counter, right? To, I was about to say CJ, Jim Beckworth. And they were actually like brothers. And the thing is that the Love Gang, you actually felt like a kinship, like they were family, and you cared. But the funny part is the Rufus Buck Gang, the main people that Rufus was really around, there was a loyalty and a love there. And that was interesting. It was like they were two families in their own rights. And the thing is that Trudy was strong. Trudy was interesting because Trudy, it felt like Trudy wasn't just some rando person. There's a reason why Rufus trusted her. And what else I liked, it didn't feel like there was a love story between them. It felt like there was mutual respect, and I was happy about that. Cuz I was like, I don't think they need that. So there's a reason why Trudy was who she was, why who she is, and everything. So the last one I'm going to talk about, and then I'm going to just do a couple quick overviews and then give you my rating. Now, you got the last and least, and I saved them for last because this is my boy from the West, Bass Reeves. Okay, first off, best performance of Bass Reeves I've ever seen between Delroy Lindo. Playing that character is the best. I've seen a couple Bass Reeves. He's the best that I've ever seen play it and do it, right? I like the way they did Bass Reeves. Bass Reeves, when he walked into a room, when he walked into a place, you felt it. And that was something that I really liked. It felt different when he walked in the room. It was like a grown man just walked in the room and everybody got quiet. He was not somebody to play with. There was rules that he did. He was like, you know who I am. And he, because Bass Reeves is Bass Reeves, baby. And when they had their fights, Bass, when people try to do something, Bass is just walk down talking about something. Nope, I'm Bass Reeves. And I'm like, yes. And Bass, and when the shooting starts and the stuff goes, it's like Bass is like, nah, I don't play that. I don't play that. Do not play with me. I puts men in the grounds, okay? I put you in the dirt. And everything about him was perfect. So, the movie, cinematography, off the chain. There was this scene, particularly where certain shots would happen, and you would see it from a different angle, and then it would switch the angle. Or like there was this one time where the dude was hitting, and the camera actually followed the hits with the weapon, and it was like right on the spot, and then it would come out. The colors were popping. The music, there was surprise music in the movie, and I'm not talking about just the overview of what black people did, because black people, we sang, we did stuff, and you felt that, and you knew that. And it was also great. This is one little, no, I'm not going to spoil it. There is a town, because there are some Caucasians in here. There is a town that particularly handles with the Caucasians, but there's a really funny gag that goes with it, and it was great. The bullets used the colors properly. Like I said, the music was on point. The fighting was there. There's some other people. One particular person I did not know was in the movie, and I'm not going to spoil that because unless you look it up, you didn't know. And I was very happy. There was a lot of black people in this movie that I did not expect to see. Even if there was just little parts, and it was great. So overall, the directing, the lighting was amazing, and it was a town where you were dealing with one of the black folks' towns. We had a few, before Black Wall Street and things happened, because every time we try to have a town or we try to do something, this is history. I know some people might not like it, but sorry. Caucasian folks, when they go, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Well, we were trying to do real estate, Rosewood, Black Wall Street. Y'all took it away from us. So there was some truth there in them trying to establish something, talk about it, the promised land. And I like that they touched on it without going heavily into it. But if you know your history, it matches. The action throughout the entire film, beautiful. The speaking, interesting. Every conversation, there was no lull point. Everything felt like it meant something. It was different. And yes, it was a very black, but in a way of, we're over here because the West was open. And that's why we're there. So, they also left it open where they could do more in this universe. Now, the reason why I'm calling it this universe is because it's made up. Bass Reeves didn't team up with criminals, and the Love Gang and all that. And like I said, the Rufus Puck, they could have crossed paths in the area, but there's not really a historical thing of them actually, doing it. But in this, he took in Rufus Buck, and there's like a whole thing about it. But so it's like historical characters, but there was some fantasy story put to it. But this could happen, kind of thing, or could have, and I thought that was great. And I would like to see more of this, actually. I would like to see a Harder They Fall 2 or 3. You don't even have to use the same characters. That's the other crazy part. I mean, Bass Reeves, definitely. Please. More Bass Reeves all day, every day. Black people need to understand Bass Reeves is black excellence at its top. If you are a black person, you should watch this movie and then go research these characters. See who they were, because they actually depicted them pretty close to what we know of them about history, right? Then turn around and go see this. If you are Caucasian or Asian or anything, you should see this film and understand that there were black people in the West and kind of who they were and what they did. And there was outlaws and there was lawmen and lawwomen and stuff. And check it out too. This should open you up to some more history as a whole. Now, if you go and see my trailer review, I do go into a little bit of who these characters are, so I'm not going to redo that. All I want to say is Bass Reeves is who Lone Ranger wished he could be. This movie blew my mind. That is my rating. This is one of the best movies I've seen. I had high hopes, and this movie said, "Yeah, high hopes? Hold up, let me take it a step higher. This is a Western, okay? I will own this. This is up there like Django, except this was even more. Like it was just great. And I like that there could be more in this universe. I want more. I need that. I'ma need that. I need Bullets to give me more. And I found out that there's a thing on Tidal where there's some kind of Western thing he did too. And I know Jay-Z talked about it. I need that in my life. So once again, this blew my mind. I'm sorry the review is long, but it is what it is. This is the Geek Protagonist. You stay safe, you stay healthy, you stay real. If you can't see it in theaters, it's coming out on Netflix November 3rd. Please watch this. I personally think it was freaking amazing. One of the best movies I've seen all year. And I'll see you.